1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Genre, the podcast where three friends make each other read books they'd never touch unless threatened. Think book club, but with a side of banter and peer pressure.
It's like a chaotic book club.
Chaotic book club.
We're using the word book club
Loosely.
loosely.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly just what we did at bars, but now we're doing it in front of a microphone.
Exactly.
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 So before we dive into the books, we wanted to take a moment to introduce ourselves, our preferred genre, and how the podcasts are going to work. And I think we can throw it to Brianna. Want to go?
Yes, of course. I'm Brianna. As far as preferred genres, I've been a big reader my whole life. I was very much like you guys among the folks who are really into like the fantasy and dystopian YA, and then that kind of became a pipeline to more of the girly reads. So I really like chick lit. I love like the celebrity book club picks. Now, obviously, romantasy.
Yeah.
Thank you to Katie and Elise for introducing me to that genre like 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, I'm so excited. We're gonna kick it over to Katie.
I'm Katie. My sister Elise and I have been longtime readers. My genre of choice when I was younger was definitely in the mystery space. So thrillers, think James Patterson. But as I grew up, I really hopped on the YA bandwagon with Twilight, Hunger Games, Divergent, all of those. And now I strictly only read romantasy. That is my genre of choice. That is what makes me feel happy. That is my escape at the end of the day. And I've got a lot of learning to do about these other genres because I think I'm pretty stuck into one. And kicking it over to Elise here.
My name's Elise. I'm also a lifelong reader. I'm also a recovered English major. So I've read a fair amount of books that I would never actually recommend to anybody, but maybe we'll throw them in there. You know what I mean? Some Chaucer, some Habermas.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God, she's getting to the deep cuts.
Yeah.
What I've always sort of loved to read has been fantasy. So back before, honestly, they let women publish fantasy. I was reading, Lord of the Rings, some deep male-focused fantasy. Very much more into the romantasy space now, although some fantasy books will break through every once in a while. I love romance books, most contemporary, but they can really be any type of romance. It used to be my palate cleanser, and now it's my all-the-time read. And then I am very, very deep in Kindle Unlimited smut, which I actually can't wait to make you guys read.
Yeah,
someday.
time for a change.
I mean, I need to stop reading it as much as I do just to really get some more variety, but I feel like you guys don't have enough why choose shifter romance in your life, and so I'm gonna make sure you guys get a taste of it.
I guess we're about to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Find out.
A little teaser.
So the idea for this podcast came around because books are pretty much all we talk about.
Yeah.
And again, we decided to take it out of the bar and in front of a microphone, enter the bigger conversation of like book talk and all of that. We have a sort of overlap genre in romantasy, but otherwise we read pretty drastically different things.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like we might have to take it back to the beginning when we were introduced to Brianna a few years ago, friendship at first sight. And shortly thereafter, we would meet up for happy hours around the neighborhood and start talking about books.
If you were in a slump at the time, or if you were like looking
Yes.
for something to read, I just
No, I remember it exactly, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was going on vacation with my family and I was like, guys, I'm like really looking for something to read. And like,
Yes.
I haven't had that kind of high from a book since I read the Harry Potter series.
Yes.
And you guys were like, oh, do we have some books for
and
you?
we said Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember we were pulling up in a cab right in front of my house. We were coming from downtown.
Oh my God.
And I was the first to be dropped off. And I remember turning down the street and you guys were like, Sarah J. Maas. And I was like, what? Who is crazy? I'm like ashamed. I'm ashamed.
This wasn't that long ago.
This was,
It was
yeah,
before.
it was like 3 years ago. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before book talk really blew up.
Yes.
Those books.
Yeah.
But not much before.
Yeah.
I mean, I introduced it to Katie, but like, again, this is always, fantasy's always been my genre. So like, I was an early adopter of Sarah J. Maas. Like, I was reading them live when,
Yeah,
when,
same.
that,
Well,
when that woman was
yeah,
dropping
same.
2 books a year.
Yes. And I admire that so much
Yeah.
of you guys. Like, I'm a little jelly. I was like a late comer to the Sarah J. Maas, the Massiverse.
Yeah, I mean, like, she really blew up now. She was a little bit more niche before.
She
before
was.
book talk.
I wouldn't
Well,
say
yeah.
she wasn't like unknown, but she
No.
wasn't at the level.
I mean, like, as someone who's read that genre for a while, she was the one who made the move from getting romantasy out of YA into adult.
Yeah,
Like, she wasn't the first one to do that type of genre, but it was very much, oh, you have a female lead, you're at YA. Like, that's pretty much it. That's just the way that those books went. So, like, Throne of Glass is YA in the sense that there's no sex, right? Everything, if it is, it's closed door, but not YA in the sort of storytelling it was. That's pretty classic fantasy. I wouldn't even really call it romantasy, although there is romance in it, not in the way that we look at it now.
Yeah.
But like, that's a pretty classic fantasy.
For sure.
And then ACOTAR was romantasy, but again, didn't get adult until Silver Flames. But because of what she was doing, other people were able to. You put some sexy times in these books now.
Yeah. And I think that we found ourselves after that first initial download on Sarah J. Maas, we would go out to happy hour and we would just sit there and talk about books all night, like truly for hours. Then we started talking to other people about books, and then they're like, hey, what are your recommendations? And it just became something that we were always doing. And now we're taking it public.
Taking it public in a big way. We're here to chat.
Yeah.
We're here to chat. We have some things to say.
Yeah.
Some things to say.
We have some things to say. We have some opinions.
Yes, we do. We do.
So we decided on the name genre for the podcast because we felt that it was important to expand our horizons from what we usually read and really dive into each other's favorite genres. You know, Elise is loving romance. I don't read romance, and we don't get to have that conversation about books together. So we're opening that conversation up.
Outside of our comfort zones, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be a nice challenge for each of us. Learn some new lingo too. It's going to be a learning lesson, especially in the romance space.
I am petrified. I think it's going to be like too real and uncomfortable. It just seems like it makes more sense when you put non-real worlds and characters together.
You only want your romance in your fantasy.
You know, that's not true because I love the Hallmark Channel.
That's true. You do love the
I love the Hallmark Channel. I love just like the basic plot. And it's like a feel-good sort of show that I can put on in the background. And I'm sort of thinking about romance like that. That's how I'm going into it. So we'll see what I end up with.
That is how you should go into it. You'll find like similarities.
Yeah.
We find love in hopeless places. And that's just sometimes that hopeless place is Kindle Unlimited.
Yes.
Okay, in genre, we're definitely going to dive way into these books in big ways, in like classic book club ways. But to make this more of a genre experience, we're going to insert some of our own subtopics. So definitely at the top of the pod, we're going to talk about the genre of the book.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the author. We're going to talk about what that author is bringing to that specific genre, like where they kind of stand. We're going to unpack all that. Anything we heard about the book beforehand. We're definitely going to talk about the scene stealers, the things that like we couldn't stop thinking about. We're going to talk about things that surprised us, things that we predicted, things that made absolutely no sense, that didn't track at all. Those are our favorite things to talk about.
I know.
Like things that like big question marks from the books that we're reading.
Yeah.
Then we're also going to do some fun stuff like fuck, marry, kill. We'll do some dream castings in our own brain. We'll do a smut scale. We love to talk about smut.
Yep.
It's always something with the bar, so it's got to come up at the pod.
Yeah.
And each episode is also going to have a different person picking a book, which we hadn't said before, but that's how this is going to go.
Yep.
So the first ep is going to be my pick, and it's going to be Silver Elite by Danny Francis.
Yes.
This is a book that was on most of our radars before we decided, or I decided to pick this book.
Yep.
It's certainly in the book zeitgeist right now, so we're excited for this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super fun. Whoever's book it is that week is your host and will be moderating our conversation.
Yeah.
So we can try to stay on track. As little side quests as possible, but we can make no promises.
We will certainly make no promises. Yes, we love a side quest.
We do.
We love to make some comments.
All right, thanks for listening to Genre. If you like the chaos, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can follow us on all the socials at Genre Podcast. We'll see you next time for Silver Elite.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Yes. This is why we have this pod. I love it. I love it.